guys, this is Caleb with White Metal Games here. I know it's been a couple weeks, so Happy New Year. Just wanted to give you a quick update on what we've been doing here in the studio, show you what we've been doing. With the holidays upon us, I had a lot of company in town. I was really busy with stuff, so I didn't have a lot of time to model and convert and hobby. But I've been busy catching up since then, so let me just take you on a tour of the studio, show you what we're working on. So as usual, we've been busy with terrain. I like terrain a lot. I've been really feeling it the last couple months. So I'm going to show you some of that, and then we had another Demon Prince fiasco. I'm going to show you the results of that. So let's just dive right in. All right, so first up, we've got these. These are going to be planetoids for games like Battlefleet Gothic and other star games like Drop Zone Commander and that sort of stuff. So the basic shape is just a round spherical form of some sort. In this case, it's a foam ball. This one we've given a disc ring to it, and we've made that out of foam too. We've used some putty to go in there and fill in the gaps. We still have a little gap work to do. Mounted that to a MDF base or hardboard base, and we've used the same technique on the base that we use on most of our other terrain, which is this sort of, sorry, it's a little hard now, you can see it a little bit better. This is a stucco plaster. So it creates a textured look, a sand-in look, which I like. So we're going to do that to create sort of a cosmological look. So we're going to paint that black, but then we're going to paint it like nebulas or galaxies or something like that, speckle in some white for stars. So on the tabletop it'll look pretty good. Here's another smaller version, and here's just a very basic planetoid. We're also going to do some larger bases with like asteroid fields and that sort of thing for the same use in game. Let's see. This is a spiky barrier we did. So these are very, very small and simple to do. It's just a teeny tiny sliver of MDF with several spiky bits mounted to it. The same technique for the stucco on the base. That'll be painted up in 2 tones. We'll be selling those up on the web store very, very soon. We've got tons of these spiky bits left over from all of our Chaos vehicles and sprues and stuff. So we're going to be selling those for a very reasonable price. Here is a small piece of terrain we had. So we've got these pillars we've been using for a while. I had painted up a set for something else, but I decided to repurpose them. So this, if you look real close in the center, let me see if I can get under the light so it's a little bit better. So if you look real close, you'll see this large slab is actually from a Gorgon or Beastman kit, and we've put some shrubs and stuff around it, some torches, and on the other side, if you look closely, you'll see a knife is sitting right there. So it looks like sort of a a sacrificial slab, and it's mounted into these large Stonehenge-like pillars. So that's going to be a pretty fun little piece of terrain, scenic terrain for like a Warhammer Fantasy game. This started life as a water noodle. We buy these at dollar stores for cheap, usually $1, of course. And then you cut them up and put them on some MDF bases. We've got some of these wooden jars we get from our craft store to create collapsed pillars. Here's an example of a longer one. Now the holes in the middle are going to be closed up with stucco, so it'll look like they're broken and cracked. And then of course they'll be painted up, sanded, and given all sorts of other stuff. This at one point in time was a Tarrasque model that we were attempting to build as a colossal miniature, and it was a colossal failure. And that's okay, you live and learn. But I had the model left over, and I didn't have anything to do with it, so I was like, what can I do with this? So I decided to turn it into terrain. Had really no other use. So we just took it and broke it up. It was actually pretty much already broken, and we're going to apply basing material to this. And so as a set, it'll look like the entire thing just toppled over, and you've got bits and pieces of it from the tail to the head piece over here, the back and the spine and the legs and all sorts of stuff. So that'll make a fun little terrain set, just sort of as a group. Here is some netting. You get this at a local do-it-yourself store, and we just staple that to a wooden base. You can see the staple points coming through. I got to figure out a solution for that, probably some felt or something. Anyway, so we're going to make that into a metal screen. You can imagine this could be used in wargaming for, if you wanted to put it outside of compounds or something like that. You may have to shorten it a little bit. It may be too tall, but we cut that down quite a bit. We're going to be selling sets of those, and that's fun because you can see through it, but it does provide, you could call it like difficult terrain or something like that. So that's kind of an interesting gameplay mechanic. These we just built because we had the foam available. This core piece of foam came in something I bought, and so I built everything else around it. It's mounted on MDF. We're calling these ogre huts. They have this wool-like texture to the top. It's a fur. We've dipped in PVA to give it that nice, sharp, dried look. and it actually is a little sharp. On the side of it, we've mounted a few decorations. Here's a wolf pelt. The door is from an old Battlescape game. We put these sandbags around it that are going to look like stone when it's painted up. We've got to add some stuff there in between where the keystones would be. We got to add something in there. Here's a pile of wood we got from a toy. This one's exactly the same, minus the pile of wood. We actually managed to put together one axe. We had a spare axe and half from a Demon Prince conversion we recently did, so we made it look like a giant wood-splitting pile over there. Those will probably be up for sale too, so we got a pair of those. Those are going to get painted up and finished. This is the start of a Necron temple that I'm working on. So we had all of these spare pieces from, what do you call it? These are the sleeping Necrons, or the Necrons that are being transported on a command barge. I forget what it's called. But the barge that carries them around, and it looks like they're sort of mounted to it, and they've got all these scarabs crawling over them, affecting repairs. I really liked the figures. I wanted to do something with them, so I came up with the idea of doing like a temple where they're sleeping and resurrecting, like a tomb from a tomb world. So I wanted to do a small sort of diorama of that. So I came up with these, which is sorry, it's been kind of dusty in here. So this is a compilation of an original toy miniature we found. We found a toy pharaoh, which was a good size, and we just created a skull feature on it, and we cast that up so we have duplicates of it. So we're going to be mounting those around the temple. We've got these smaller sarcophagi we made and cast those in resin, and we're going to be mounting the Necrons in the sarcophagi, putting those on the walls. And there'll be some of these sort of lounging around the decorations. We've got some ones we intentionally underdid to show some collapsed ones on the ground, look like they're buried in sand. We're going to use some of these some of these Warhammer Fantasy collis and plinths to create some columns and some depth to it, and then that'll be a nice display board for a Necron player if they want to use it. Again, I'm doing a blog post about being sure to keep your inserts, because when you buy electronic products, you get these really fun inserts. This was from TV or a printer, so they're from a printer. So we really liked it, and we wanted to do something fun with it. So we're mounting it to an MDF base, and we're going to turn it into a small base. We're going to put some spiky bits or barriers. We're going to put some objectives on it. We're going to put some ladders. So you can put troops up here and have them shoot off of it as a firing port. And that'll be fun in game to have sort of a large terrain piece, scenery piece for the center of your gaming table, or the sides. We're building a few of these for an Apocalypse game we have. We've got a whole bunch of other terrain and ruins that are going into that APOC game, so we've been working on that a little bit. Here's a few more pieces, and here's a couple of the big pieces that we're putting together. So all told, when this is done, it's going to cover about a 16 by 6 foot table or so, which is what we usually game on when we play big games, because we find that if the table is 8 foot wide, we find it to be very difficult to reach the center. So instead of that, we like to do a longer table versus a wider table. That's just us. You can do whatever you like. Anyway, let's see what else we got. We got a couple of these. We're building some lakes. Now, right now, these look pretty rough, but by the time they're done, it'll look pretty seamless. So this is a material you can get from your local hardware store. It's used for covers for lights like that. You'll find them in office stores, and you get it for about $12 a sheet. Sheet's pretty large. It's over there if you can see it. It's behind that plastic grate. So you really can't see it, but sorry about that. Well, I guess I could show you. It's a little hard to see. There we go. So there you go. So it's just a textured material. And it's great for looking like lakes or ice. That's what we're doing here. So we mounted that to MDF, and we put on some of this putty paste to sort of create the look of snow. And then we're going to go over that with paint. We're going to go over that with more paste. So by the time it's done, hopefully it'll look like just snow drifts. And we're using the snow here in the center to create this impression of the snow's drifted across the surface of the lake. Now, partially that was to hide the fact that this is actually 4 broken pieces that we glued onto the same board to create this impression. But what we're going to do is we're going to round out the edges with flock to create the impression that it is, in fact, a singular piece. Here's a smaller one. We're doing a little small pond. This was a toy statue we found somewhere. We bought it from somebody. I think it was from a Lord of the Rings terrain set, but I can't find it online anymore, so I don't know what it was from. So we just took it, mounted it to MDF. We put a whole bunch of spare undead bits here at the bottom to simulate weapons and armor that had been left behind, skulls and fallen warriors and that sort of thing. And we just smeared a bunch of paint on there, and we're going to paint that up with some real basic metallics and then cover it up with some snow and flocking to make it look like a winter statue. And I think that'll look really good. We went a little heavy on the paint on this side, I'm noticing now. But that's okay, because where it's too heavy, we'll just cover it up with snow and make it look natural. This, sorry, I gotta take two hands, was originally just a piece of driftwood my wife found. And I liked it so much that I decided to mount it to some basing too. This is a piece of deer antler that we used as a stump. We had used it for something else originally, and we cut it into slices for stumps. And this tree, this signpost, is from a Warhammer Fantasy Bits ensemble I bought from somebody. If you look really closely here in the tree, you can see a hanging corpse, and there's a placard on the side of this tree that shows what I would presume were his crimes in life. We also put a spider up top, and we've got this goat skull over here, make it look sort of druidic. There's some gnawed bones on the ground. And anyway, so that was painted brown. We're going to paint the rest of that up. Some real basic painting stuff. We're going to make that work. And then I guess that's all the terrain for now. So let's get to the Demon Prince Fiesta. So as you probably know, I love Demon Princes. I love demons in general. I just think they're a lot of fun to play with, because you can really, like Tyranids, you can do just about anything with them. You can convert them any way you like. And really, who's to say what's right or wrong when it comes to demons and the chaos, the fickleness of the chaos gods? So I like to just go nuts and just see what I can come up with. Most of them usually sell fairly well. Sometimes we hold on to them for a few months because they don't find the right client, but eventually we lower the price until they do find the right client. So these will be going up in the next day or two, and then they will be for sale until sold. They are one of a kind. Just like all my other pieces. So please, if you like them, buy quickly, don't buy later, because they won't be around. And I can't guarantee I can duplicate anything. A lot of these are one-time pieces. Okay, so here's the basic selection of what we have available right now. It's going to be going up in the store. So it's a lot to take in at first, so let's go through the pieces one by one. So let me move some of this off to the side so people can get a full glimpse of everything, and I promise I'll take care of these one by one just to show you what all we got. So this guy started out is I wanted to figure out a way to do a palanquin for a Nurgle Lord without having to build a chair every time. So I liked the idea of him having sort of a slug-like lower body. So that's how this came about, is that I sculpted up a lower slug body just to see if I liked it or not. And I figured if I did, what I could do is I could cast it and make multiples. And I just sort of did a test run, a dry run, just to see whether or not it would work. So what I did was I took a Nurgle lower body and mounted it to some Chaos bits, gave him this Nurgle helmet. I had this spare sickle in my bits box, gave him a plasma pistol just for some variety, and then he's actually mounted to this body is actually from a Chaos Rhino kit, where you get the vehicle upgrade sprue. But I liked the body for this sort of guy because I didn't feel like the backpack was really needed. And I like the look of this guy. I think as a Lord on Palanquin, the Slugtail works. Slugtails aren't the... I've seen these before, of course. People have done that before, but I've never seen it as a bits pack. I've never seen you be able to buy just the Slugtail before. So I think that might have some merit. If I sell it for a couple bucks a piece, we'll see how that goes. On the same token, we went ahead and did that with a larger Demon Prince, too. So here's the larger one. Now, in-game, there's no benefit. You can't give a Demon Prince a palanquin, or palanquin if I'm mispronouncing it. So there's no in-game bonus for this. But I thought it looked kind of fun, and I liked the idea of a Nurgle Lord with a slug tail. If you look closely, you'll see there's some detail worked in. It's not particularly detailed. It's not heavy detailed because slugs are not heavy detailed. So this worked for me very, very well. It was perfect for my wheelhouse. I gave him 4 arms because I had them available, and I decided I wanted to use them. And I like the look of him. He's sort of this squat creature. Now slugs traditionally have these 4 proboscis sticking out of their face, if you would call it, their facial region. So I like the idea of him having 4 limbs, and I just think 4-limb demon princes are fun. I've been working with them for a while. I'm getting pretty experienced at it, and I just enjoy it. So there's him. Here's another demon prince. This guy we formed from spare bits we had. We had spare of these appendages from the Lasher tendrils, or from what are they? From the Forge Fiend Mauler Fiend kit. So I like that a lot. So I just mounted them to a demon prince, sculpted up his back. Got a little more experience with that. I've been doing this is like my 3rd or 4th back now. Don't have to do great detail for him. And I gave him this club because I like the idea of it counting as a black mace. So if you want to use a demon prince with a black mace, you've got it. Otherwise, you can just count it as a close combat weapon. It really doesn't matter. But that was originally the club from a Beastman Minotaur that was used for like the drumming or something like that, like for their musicians. And I liked the look of it. I thought it worked as a pretty decent mace. The scale's appropriate for this demon prince. So I thought he came together pretty well. There you go. There's another closer look. And we'll have better pictures on our eBay store if you're not seeing these guys very well right now. So this guy, I'm counting him as a Mauler Fiend, as a Nurgle-style Mauler Fiend. So he is actually, other than the head, which is from a old Swamp Thing kit. Let me just take him off the base for now. Other than the head, which is from a little Swamp Thing kit, he is actually 100% GW bits. Now let me reemphasize that. Other than the head, he is 100% GW bits. This guy is completely converted from GW pieces and gray stuff. So he's clearly a compilation of bits. I like the idea of doing a praying mantis. I've always liked praying mantises. I've liked the look of them. I've incorporated them into Nurgle miniatures many times, as you'll see here in a few minutes. And I've always liked that big bulbous head, because I can pick him up off eBay for very, very little. So this guy is a combination of Tyranid bits, Chaos bits. This long piece that forms the body and the back is actually the neck from a Helldrake, which we had converted a Helldrake about a month or 2 ago. We had the neck left over. I didn't know what to use it for, but I wanted to do something like this, and the long body of it was really great. It's got all these nice tubes and wires coming out of it. We mounted the Scything Talons to it. We've got these Crushing Claws from the Tervigon kit. Also these Devourer Legs from the Tervigon kit, which the vents on the side of these really work great for Nurgle, where you also often see holes and pustules. The wings, if you would call it that, mounted to the back, are from a Trigon, so you can imagine the wings are beneath that, as is the lower body. These shoulder pads are from a Chaos Terminator Lord. These are from a Defiler. And then underneath, we just really blended it. We really didn't do a lot of detail down there because you're not going to really see it much. And then for a base, we're going to include this, which is a resin base that I cast a few months ago. So it's basically sand and dirt, and it's got some bits worked into it. It's got some sandbags, a gas jug. I think there's a gun or a knife. There's a knife in here too. It's a little difficult to see, but I like the idea that this guy is kind of burrowing out of the ground. We'll include a regular 120 by 90 as well, so that way you can mount him either way you like. But he'll be sold as a soul grinder, and he is very much one of a kind. I don't think I can do him exactly again. Well, I guess I could if I had the bits, but that Helldrake neck is really hard to come by. Okay, this one's a little more unusual. This came about because I picked up what do you call those things? Impaler? It's a Chaos Demon from the Forge World line that has these massive bladed arms. Bloodslaughter, that's what he's called. Anyway, so the kit comes with spare limbs and a spare head, so that way you can do either one. And I liked the bits so much, I knew I wanted to incorporate them into something. So I decided to incorporate it into this sort of massive... I used the Cairn Wraith, whatever, from the Warhammer Vampire Council line as my inspiration. I like the idea of this sort of Cornish ghost creature that could count, because it's on a 60, it could easily count as a Hellbrute, or it could count as a Demon Prince. So what I did was I took tons and tons of wires and mechanical bits and just heated them with a heat gun and then just wrapped them around this guy like a body. And then I mounted the arms, of course, and then I had these old bits of wing left over for some projects, and I heated those with a heat as well, wrapped those around them like an old cloak, and then I just filled in the gaps with some gray stuff to sort of incorporate this look. If you look real close, you'll see some faces leering out of there. Those are from my Ghoul Kits line, from the Crypt Horror line. There's 3 faces leering out, plus some skulls and bones and that sort of thing. It's a little difficult to see. There it is. Anyway, I like that figure a lot. I think he really came together well. He's mounted on a Cartifex tail, which I reversed to give this sort of sense of flow to him. I think he works really well. He could work as a Hellbrood or as a Demon Prince or as a customized Blood Slaughter or just about anything. You could count him as a, I don't know, who knows. But he's a lot of fun. He was fun to build. Here's another Demon Prince. This one is much like the first one, but he's mounted on these old metal pewter legs. There's got some fur in the back from the Crypt Horror kit. 4 arms. We gave him a regular Demon Prince head, but we mounted this Defiler mask to him to give him a little variation. And this guy has a mace as well, but he's got a more traditional mace, so that works as a black mace. He's kind of looming and leering over his quarry. So if you look at him in comparison to a standard 28mm infantry figure, you can see he's really looking directly down at them, which I like a lot. I think that look is good. Compared to a traditional Demon Prince, or close to a traditional Demon Prince, at least height-wise, he's about the same size. A little shorter, a little more stooped, but certainly made out of 100% GW bits, completely legal. All of these figures are, in fact, tournament legal if you want to get down to it, because they're all mostly GW bits, with the exception of like a head or the sculpted tail. That's about it. Otherwise, it's good to go. This guy has a few bits of cloth here in the front, which are not from GW, but I incorporated these Khorne icons, or these Chaos icons in there to make it look sort of like old robes, which once painted up, he's going to blend real well. Alright, so there's this guy. He was a bit of sort of a shot in the dark, and while I don't love him, I think someone might. So these legs, I had bought these legs as in a bits pack, and they're from the Mauler Fiend, which I like a lot. And I like them for Demon Prince legs, but the problem is they're about 30% larger than standard legs, so you need a larger torso to make it work. So I used this torso from a He-Man toy, and I needed a bigger head, so I had one more of these Praying Mantis heads, so I mounted there. And then all the arms I had were too small, so I was like, well, I'll give him tons of arms then. So I gave him 6 arms. Each arm holds a different item or weapon. He's got 2 swords, this sickle made out of a dark Eldar sail, and this haft is from an axe and a combination of other bits. He's got 1 old school Demon Prince sword, which is the scene there in pewter. He's also got a regular axe, this club, which I like to count as a black mace, again, we talked about that earlier. Another sword, which was modified. I wrapped some chain around it to sort of give it a Nurgle kind of look, because the Great Unclean Ones like to carry chains. And he's got these big industrialized feet, and the feet actually end in these sort of hands, which I kind of like a little bit for the Praying Mantis look. So he's definitely got a Nurgle Demon Prince vibe. By no means claim him to be fantastic. As seen here, he's quite a bit taller than a traditional Demon Prince. He could work as a custom conversion for all sorts of things. He could work as a Primarch or something. I think once painted up, he will be fine. But I'm sort of giving you a grain of salt, because you're going to get 1 or 2 looks at this thing if you bring him into a game store. But I think he's fun. He'll be priced to move. So, we're going to put him out there and just see if someone finds him, someone likes him. But I know I'm going to get some flack for him. I know I'm going to get a few negative comments, and that's okay. Bring it on. I'm used to it. Anyway, so that's everything. So those are the spoils of the weekend. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Demon Princes, maybe 5 if you count the guy in the back, plus a Mauler Fiend conversion here. Would also work decently for a Soul Grinder, a little small for a Soul Grinder though. And Nurgle Lord. Plus, we got more terrain on the way, so look out for that. This video's gone a little long, so I'm sorry if you've been sticking with me the whole time. Thank you very much. If you're just tuning into our channel for the first time, we are White Metal Games, and we are a full-service conversion and painting company. We do miniature conversion, custom work, custom conversions, kit bashes, and painting. Although most of this channel's videos deal with conversion work, because the artists who do the painting for me aren't often in studio. We do paint. We just show less of our painting than we do of our conversion work, because I tend to do a lot of the work here and just sell stuff off as I get it, because I'm so excited about it. I want to get it out there. And I know people's personal paint jobs differ Army to Army, so I don't like to paint something up if you're going to buy it, because I think you should paint it your way. But we are a painting company. We do offer painting services, and we're very reasonably priced in the painting department. So just contact me at calebfilm@yahoo.com. I'll put that email up at the end of this video as well. We are looking to clear out some inventory, so if you're interested in anything we have in our web store, just email me, make me an offer, and let me know what you're looking for. Again, we do custom work, so we're happy to help you out any way we can. Everything you see that we put up here generally is going to be for sale at one point or another, so if there's anything you're Wow, the video timed out. I've been talking for that long. It had timed out. So anyway, just to sum up, if there's anything you're interested in, just contact us at calebfilm@yahoo.com, and we're happy to talk to you about your Army's needs. 2013 is going to be a big year for us. We're looking to get into manufacturing terrain in a big way. We're also looking to paint more. And we're hoping to go to a couple conventions this year. We want to go to conventions and showcase our work a little bit. The first one we're looking at is Adepticon, so if you're going to be there this year, hopefully look for us there. We're speaking with some of the organizers of that now, trying to work out a deal to figure out what we can do as a sort of to get us in there. They work with vendors on an individual basis, so we're looking to probably build something big for them. So the two projects I'm looking at right now is I'm thinking about either building another Warhound Titan or Warlord Titan, not an Emperor style this time. And this time we're going to do them up more traditionally. We're not going to, we're gonna follow some of the examples we've seen on the web and use that as our basis, with our own unique touch, of course. That, or we're also thinking about doing some sort of large, huge, massive orc Titan. I really like orcs, and I really want to get into converting them. I've done a couple orc conversions in the past. I've really enjoyed it. I want to do more of them. So I'm looking to do something big that way for Adepticon if we are able to attend or not. So look for those in the coming year. And that's about it for now. So have a happy New Year, and have a good week. And I guess that's it. So email me at calebfilm@yahoo.com if you have any questions, or if you're interested in anything we have or you've seen here, or if there's anything you want us to try out. We'd love to give it a shot. So until next time, put your minis where your mouth is. Take care. Bye-bye.